Congressman Jared Golden toured the timber mill in Madison today. After the tour, he was given the Advocate for American Business Award by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. While there, we had the opportunity to ask him about today's missile attack on Israel from Iran. Here's how he said the United States should respond.
I'd say slow is smooth and smooth is fast, and patience once again. We're not involved in that conflict in the Middle East right now, but Israel is our partner, and we support them. We've supported them in their war with Hamas and with Hezbollah. These are two terrorist organizations that are hostile to the United States, and the main source of their political and economic backing has always been, and military backing has always been Iran, a country that considers the United States an enemy.
Golden also said he's not calling for any specific action given how recent the attacks are.